Let's now take a look at a couple of ways that we can handle output. As we said before, system.out is what's considered our standard output object. So just how system.in is our standard input object by using the keyboard, system.out is our standard output for printing stuff to our screen or our monitor or terminal or some variation of that. Now there are two methods normally associated with system.out. We have println, so it would be system.out.println, or it just spelled print with an ln, but we call it println. So what this means is whatever's in the parentheses, whatever expression, we'll print that expression. And then the next time we print something, so whether that's an additional println statement or just a print statement or some other version of printing, we would start that on a brand new line. So everything in the parentheses here would print, but the next time we print something, it's going to be on a new line. The second method is just print. So it's just println without the ln. This also prints the expression, but whatever the next expression is starts exactly where the previous expression left off. So we can have multiple print statements and all the output would be on the same line. Let's take a look at an example of these different print statements. So let's say I have system.out.print ABC, system.out.println DEF, and system.out.println GHI. Well, what are we going to print? The first line is going to print ABC, so we print that part. Now the second line says that we're going to print DEF, but the key thing is looking at the previous statement, this print line. So this means that whatever gets printed next will be on the same line. So that means DEF will be printed on the exact same line. Now what about the third line? Well, we're going to print GHI, but where does it get printed? If we look at the second line, what this is saying is what gets printed after DEF will start on a brand new line. So that means that GHI will be on a different line. And it's worth noting that the println method does not require any expression to be in the parentheses. I can just do system.out.println and nothing be in there. What that would do is it would make the next expression print on a brand new line. So maybe you're printing some lines of text and then you want to guarantee that the next thing gets printed on a new line. Just throw in a system.out.println and that'll take care of it for you. Now let's take a look at what we put inside the parentheses. So if the expression that's in the parentheses is either a single string or it's some single constant value, then the expression inside the parentheses would evaluate to itself, and that's what we would print. So like for example, if I have the string test in quotes inside the parentheses, then my println statement here is going to just simply print test. If I have something like just the number 5, no quotes around or anything, it's just a numerical 5, then that number gets printed. Now what about variables? So if we have a variable, then the expression is evaluated to the value of that variable, and then we print that value. So for example, let's say I have a variable num and it's set to 10. So if I do system.out.println num, num gets evaluated to 10. So that's the same thing as system.out.println 10, and we would just simply print 10. Now for character variables, the letter that's in the parentheses would get printed, but there would not be any single quotes printed. It would just be the letter. Same reason why if we print a string, there are no double quotes when they're printed. So for example, if I have system.out.println A, and yes, I could put that in single quotes, then it would just print the letter A. So let's take a look at escape sequences, or specifically we'll take a look at one, the /n character, which is also called the new line escape sequence. In general, if I use a backslash, it's called the escape character, and I could put very specific characters after the backslash to create an escape sequence. For now, we're just going to focus on the /n. And what this does is it just takes whatever comes afterwards to print on a new line. So for example, I can do system.out.print and then hello world in the parentheses, but I put a /n between the hello and the world. So what that prints is hello on one line and then world on the next line. Now you should be asking yourself a question here, which is, well, wait a minute. We have this /n, which means Whatever comes afterwards, we print on a new line. But don't we have a method that takes care of that for us? Yeah, I mean, we have the print line method. Anything that comes after that also gets printed on a new line. In fact, I can use either statement. I can do system.out.print and then /n, or I can do system.out.println. Either of these approaches will do the exact same thing where whatever comes afterwards will print on the next line. Most people actually use the system.out.println approach though. Let's go over a couple more escape sequences. So if I want to do a tab, I can do a /t, which just inserts a tab when I print something. If I want to do a backspace, I can do /b, which just means go back one space to the left. You're probably not going to use this one that much, and you probably won't even see too many examples of it because you print so much and then it goes back to space and then maybe you continue printing. So when you print something, unless you're doing it one character at a time, it's going to be as if you already did the last part of it. The return escape sequence, or /r, means that we start at the beginning of the current line. So this is kind of similar to your typewriter approach where you print something on the line and then you just go right back to the beginning of the current line. The / escape sequence allows me to actually print a backslash. So I just need 2 backslashes to make that work. For single quotes, I can do a /quote to print a single quotation mark, although later versions of Java, including the one that we're using for this class, do not require the /. You can just put in the single quote and it'll work just fine. So this one isn't really as necessary anymore. Now for double quotes, you have to use a / in front of it. So this will print a double quotation mark. So remember, like in our print statements, we have our quotes to say what kind of string we want to print. But if we want to print the actual quote, we would need the / in front of it. So for example, if I want to print the bird is the word with bird in quotes, I would do system.out.println and then then /quote bird /quote is the word. So this would in fact print the bird is the word.